everyone, Akwaaba. You are welcome once again to the Akwaaba Podcast. My name is Doma, and today we have a very lovely person with us. You already know how we do it here. I'm not going to mention her name. I'm not going to say anything about her. She's going to introduce herself. She'll tell us a little bit about herself. Basically, at the end of everything, we should have known everything about her. So, yeah. So, ta-da, and welcome to our studio today. You're welcome, mom. So, please let us know your name. Let us know a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, your favorite color, your favorite food, etc. Yeah, you're listening.
Wow, okay. I'm also Kosia. So
Nice.
I'm Lorraine.
Nice.
And
are really pretty.
I mean, I'm following in your footsteps. So I'm British born. So I was born in the UK, but I'm Ghanaian and have been having a very varied career. So, oh gosh, what have I not done is the question that people normally ask me. So right now I'm a real estate property educator and coach for a lot of the diaspora community that want to buy property in Ghana.
Awesome.
I also run a national choir competition for people in the UK that are in university gospel choirs. I've had a nail salon in Ghana. I've had a transportation business. I've had a clothing business. I've done so many different things. I've had a professional career as well, working in some of the largest companies in the world. So that's a little bit about my professional background. But the good stuff is, what's my favorite color? One of my favorite color, my ultimate favorite color is green. Emerald green is my favorite color.
Nice.
Absolutely love it. It's calming. It's a bit of me. Favorite food?
And it really looks luxurious, actually.
It is. I think green is it's earthy, things like that. Favorite food wise, this is a bit of it's not necessarily a random combination, but for those people that get it, they get it. Kenke with some fried egg.
Awesome.
Some 1,000 with some shito. But the icing on the cake is tilapia.
Awesome.
So it's random because you wouldn't really,
know where it's going to. Kenke with fried egg. I'm like, okay, kenke with fried egg. Okay, sure.
Some shrimps. Then you have some tilapia on the side.
I have so many questions, right, to ask you just from your introduction.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Just from your introduction, I have so many questions to ask you. Why Akwaaba?
Why Akwaaba? I'm not the best singer, but I love gospel music. I love even if you don't have the best voice, when you're amidst a large number of people, your voice gets blended out.
Yeah.
The harmonies, being part of a choir, I think is amazing. But ultimately, for me, I started it initially when I wanted to give people an opportunity to explore their faith through gospel music. So I started this choir competition for those people in the UK. I don't know, have you seen the movie Sister Act 2?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies in this entire world. And for those people that have seen Sister Act 2, is where you've got like Lauryn Hill, then Whoopi Goldberg forms a choir. I basically started something like that in the UK, also in Ghana. I've run it in Ghana a few times as well, where university choirs are coming from across the country, and we run this competition to find the UK's or Ghana's best gospel choir.
I know, like, you basically rushed that through your portfolio, right? You were trying to make it
done now.
No, those and that. But then the only thing I could ask myself is, how many lives have you lived? Because this is a lot of things. Okay, so let's start. Real estate content creator or like real estate educator, and then we did the choir thing, and then we did working for a lot of big companies out there, and then we did the nail salon, and then we did a fashion bit, right? So a combination of all this, right? Which one would you say that was really challenging for you to pursue?
I'll definitely say running a spa in Accra was one of my biggest challenges, I would say. But it makes you stronger. We can talk about that. That has been 5 years of experience.
Oh, okay. It's still running.
I closed it down last year.
Oh.
It was initially temporary. We'll see. We shall see.
So what about it makes it the most challenging?
I think initially I came into the market thinking that the one thing about being in Ghana and running a business, what I've learned is that A, you have to be here on the ground. B, if you are the face of the business, you need to maintain being the face of your business. And C, if you are, the thing about gut, you always have, if you're not the person that actually performs the service. So it was a nail salon I was running, it was a spa. But I got trained in doing as a beautician, but it's not my day job. I don't do it every single day. So what I realized is if you're not the person that's actually doing that line of work day in, day out, you're relying on other people. And so it's very difficult here, especially in Ghana, when you're relying on people and you're not around, that combination makes it very difficult and challenging.
And somebody who is looking forward to starting something like that, what have you learned from what have you learned from this experience, and what's your word of advice for that person? What would you have done differently, knowing what you know now?
I wouldn't have spent so much starting up. I invested over £100,000 starting up this business in Ghana.
Oh.
Yeah. I probably would have chosen a more affordable location. So I found a beautiful place in Laboni. I rented there out. I kitted it out to the best of my ability, got staff. You know, I used to ship a lot of my equipment and things in from the UK. Maybe I could have sourced some things locally.
Yeah.
So there's a load of like more logical business model things I would have probably done a little bit differently. I come in with probably a little bit of a different attitude, you know. Yeah. You know, in Ghana, what I've learned is that it's about packaging. It's honestly about packaging.
Really?
I was so focused on, you know, let me have the best possible, which is good. Which is good. You have to have the best service, best quality products, best this, best that. I wanted to focus on that. But what I learned, I was competing with people that they had the best brand.
Yeah.
You know? And so sometimes you also have to get yourself to a level where it's packaging. You have to look good. Sometimes it does, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't even matter what your package or your product is.
Yeah.
If it looks good on the outside, it will sell. And so I learned that here in Ghana, people are very, they like the new thing. So a new thing comes up and the brand is on point.
Yeah.
They'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So unless you keep reinventing yourself and have a strong brand, your brand is always good, they'll move on. You find out with restaurants, you find out with bars, you find it, some of the bars in Ghana, we've seen like some solid bars that have withstood the test of time. But some restaurants, people will jump onto a trend, they'll move on. People will jump onto a spa, they'll move on. Different things. So sometimes you have to like always make sure that your brand levels are up there on point.
I've learned so much just from our first 5 minutes of talking. And I mean, I was going through your portfolio and I categorized it, right? I categorized it into real estate, tech, business advisory, right? Would you say that these experiences are what have made you a really good business advisor?
100%. Sometimes they say that, you know, our parents used to tell us that experience is the best teacher. I agree, because there's no book. I have an executive MBA from Oxford University. That didn't teach me anything.
Ooh.
Like here in Ghana, that degree doesn't go anywhere.
Really?
It's your experience that you've learned, the experience, you have to kind of go through the fire.
Someone says that Ghana is not for beginners, like
At all.
yeah.
No, it really is. Going through having the experience yourself, I think teaches you. And that's why I advise people using my own lessons.
Yeah.
You can have all the business degrees in the world, but being here on the ground, it doesn't help. You can have obviously the book knowledge. You can be book learned. You could have all the knowledge in the world, but with that proper on the ground experience, you won't get far.
So I was saying that I categorized your career trajectory or the sectors that you worked across in these 3 different niche I spoke about, right? What inspired your journey to say that I'm going to go through these 3 different industries, tech, real estate, and then business advisory?
Do you know what? It was never the plan. It was like, I didn't sit there someday and be like, I'm going to go through these, right? I'm the kind of person, I'm interested in so many different avenues, from the music side with gospel music to tech. I studied tech for my undergraduate, so I did information technology, right? So I was always interested in technology, right? Real estate, I came into Ghana and I was seeing, like, when I first bought my first property, it was in 2012, you know? So I came in and was interested in real estate. And so being interested in real estate, I went in, I learned a whole lot I got burnt a whole lot. I said, look, I can't let my fellow diasporans also face those challenges. That was how I got into real estate.
So what are some of the challenges you faced as like a diasporan trying to get property in Ghana?
A whole lot.
Like,
A whole lot. Who to trust, what the process is like. So also where to go to get certain things. So one of the things that I did when I bought one of my earlier properties is I got a diaspora mortgage. I got a mortgage, but I didn't quite, I was so banking on the area that I invested in that the rental returns would also help to supplement the mortgage, that I'll be fine. But I ended up supplementing it for my own salary. I was in the UK. People were living in my house in Ghana, but I was paying their rent. Can you imagine? Because the amount of money that I was paying for my mortgage versus what they were paying me just didn't make any financial sense. So it's really just understanding the lay of the land, understanding who needs to get paid, understanding that you need a lawyer, understanding that you need to run searches. That I remember the land that I read, one of my first piece of lands that I registered, it wasn't until 7 years before it was officially my name, because the chief that I purchased it from, he died. Then the family members now come, they want to come and make a claim. Now you heard that this person has also bought the land. So it becomes a headache. So you're learning through all of these situations that help you to now, okay, be like, okay, I don't want other people to go through these challenges as well.
and then facing all these challenges, what do you think as a nation, right, we can do better to help lessen all these challenges that people face? Because I know that there's land thing. It's not about who you are necessarily, because you could be a local, born and bred, right, in Ghana, never traveled. You speak all the hundreds of local languages that we speak, and you're still going to have challenges acquiring a piece of land. So as a country, what do you think we can do to make this process better?
Yeah, I think it's number one, that process between buying and selling needs to be super, super regulated and super, super tight. So making sure that there's transparency in the market. So I know recently, especially when you're getting title, when you're getting land, you're running searches, barcodes came on like in the last 3 years or so. So I think it's making sure that there is A, transparency in the market, and B, making sure that it's super tight. So you can only sell a piece of land and legally to somebody if you are the person that legally owns it. Nobody else should. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So making sure that it's highly regulated, making sure that contracts and binding covenants actually hold up in a court of law. Because there is a statistic that in the law courts or in the courts of Ghana, the cases that make up the majority of court cases are land-related issues.
Yeah.
So if land-related issues are taking up all these court cases, you should ask yourself why. What is the challenge? It means that somehow, somewhere down the line, something is not working. So A, the court should be able to enforce certain things and make sure or rather the contract should be enforceable in the court of law, right? So there's a number of different things I think that need to be done and upheld, but it comes down to a lot of transparency. It comes down to trust. It comes down to knowing who the right people are. So there's a number of different things.
I mean, I share the opinion that you've just shared with us. Amazing, everything you said, right? Like, it's almost like it's become normal, right? It's become normal. Oh, if you're getting a land in Ghana, it has to be this dramatic, right? And I don't know how, as a country, we can sort this issue out. It's been there like ages, and it's like, oh, it has to be like that for it to be like,
so why should you buy a
land?
I don't think I've known anybody that, okay, well, a few of my clients, obviously, people that have purchased land and it's been smooth sailing. There's always some issue somewhere, so.
And you're wondering, how can we just make it better? And people have, I mean, shared their opinion, like what you've said, transparency and trust, and like it being heavily regulated from buying to selling. And then there's the opinion on digitalization. Let's make sure that, okay, this land is properly registered.
Absolutely.
And it's not just registered on paper, but there's like a whole digital record of it.
Yeah, let me give you an example. If I was going to buy property in the UK, there's a land registry organization. So the government, you can go online, pay £12 or £10, which is, what is that now? I used to, I need to remember what that is. 200. I think it's 200
I think
cities
it's
or
like
so.
20 cities, like a pound is 20 cities, or like slightly more. Like let's say 20 cities, a
Is
pound
it?
is 20
It's
cities.
about 200 cities or so. So to get a land, so you can literally go online, so put in the postcode or the digital code, put in the code, and it'll tell you who the property owner is,
Wow.
and it will deliver it to you within minutes. Ghana, everything, you have to go to Lands Commission, now you have to pay them 5,000 cedis or whatever, now they have to run a search, now you have to send a surveyor, now they have to give you the plot. Like if we had digitalized a lot of these things, there would be no need for Lands Commission.
Yeah.
We can do everything, I mean, obviously they'll be doing things behind the scenes, but to go there physically, if we can do that online, that is something that is necessary.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, there's something that is possible. It's not like impossible. It's not undoable.
Because it's going to take some people out of jobs. That's
Yeah,
why.
exactly. That's what I was about to say.
It will
That's
take
what I was
people out.
about
It will
to
take people out of
say.
jobs. Some
That's what I
people's
was
job is
about to
literally to
say.
receive physical paper, to go
Yeah.
and physically check the land,
Yeah.
to physically go and do this. But if it was all digitalized and you had this was all online and people can access this of their free roll to search, you know.
Like we were saying earlier, right? This has been an issue like since my mom was born. It's been there. So why are we not doing anything about it? In my opinion, I think that is because it's someone's daily bread.
That's
People
it. Correct.
profit off the chaos.
Absolutely.
Right? People profit off the chaos. So yes, and these people that are profiting off the chaos are in the positions to be able to get things done. But
You said it.
yeah. Yeah, we're going to just slide off this, right? So good. You were awarded an MBE, right, by the Queen, the late Queen Elizabeth. What does it mean? What's an MBA?
An MBE stands for, I believe, Member of the British Empire. I think. I need to remember the exact acronym. I always forget. But yeah, that was a couple of years ago, by the grace of God, where, you know, a number of people in the UK who are doing things to impact and benefit their community, they receive this notoriety, you know. So it was an honor to receive that.
Yeah, and what were the activities that you were involved in that made you receive this honor?
A lot of it is to do with the program that I run around really building a community with university students in the UK. So a lot of the things that I do with the gospel choirs, well-being, mental health, around how some of the students who are on campuses in the UK, who want to explore their faith, want to explore their opportunities in through music. That's the main reason why I got that MBA.
Okay, and how has it inspired like your journey so far? Did it be like, oh my God, I feel so seen and I have to do this better? Did it have any impact like that?
Pressure.
Or you were like, nah?
Obviously, it's an honor. It's not like you get money or you get paid for anything, you know, for
Yeah.
it. You're rather, if anything, it's a recognition for the hard work and the sacrifice that I've made for other people. And I believe, you know, sometimes you go unseen. You do something for the love, the passion, the impact, and sometimes you feel unseen for doing that work. And so the opportunity to be recognized for that work, I think, was, for me, kind of validating as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you had the opportunity of working with Meta?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how is it like? Because I mean, it's maybe not for everyone, but I think for a lot of people, getting to work for such a company is like a dream, right?
It was a dream. It was a dream when I got the job as well. So yeah, I was working at Facebook, and it was an awesome time.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those. You know, working at Meta is like, it is a dream. You even to get to work, your expenses are paid.
Wow.
Like transportation is covered. Even when you get into the office, food is there. You know what I mean? So it was, but aside from all of those kind of things, it's like the work itself was impactful. I was working with a lot of online communities who are looking to develop their footprint in the digital space. And so I was helping them to build their business models, helping them to scale, helping them to monetize. So that's the kind of work I was doing.
That's when you say Meta, when you say Facebook, all we think about is like social media, and
Yeah.
you guys are building something to help people connect. But I mean, talking about helping businesses with their business
Well,
model.
on you know, if you think about it, most content creators, or let's say at least 50% of content creators, you can see them as businesses,
Okay.
right? They are building brand partnerships. They are monetizing off their content. They're effectively business, right? There is a revenue that's being generated. There's some costs that they're spending. They're making some profits, right? So ultimately, we're looking through the lens of communities or content creators who are on platform, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever meta platforms, WhatsApp, so that we can help those people and those communities to grow and to scale.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how has that experience guided your how you work with people? Because I know that there's a lot of exposure in a role like that, right? So how has that experience guided the rest of your career?
I'll be honest, that triggered a lot of my things that I do in the real estate space. So
Wow.
working at Meta gave me it opened my eyes to what the possibilities are with content creation and how you can just express yourself on platform and not feel fearful of people thinking. I used to think that if I put myself out there, A, I don't know anything, B, people will have something to say. But working at Meta, you're seeing so many content creators, see so many communities, you're like, what's the point of you hiding?
Yeah.
I used to just be like, oh, this phase will pass. But we all need to, we're living in a digital information age where even if you know 1% more than somebody else is going to be grateful for that.
Yeah.
I used to be the kind of person that would be like, somebody always used to coach me and they used to say, I used to tell them, I don't know anything. I have this experience. I mean, I've gone into real estate, I've got my own properties, whatever in Ghana. But like, Lorraine, that's more than some other person has done. So if you look at your scale of 0 to 10, for example, and you see yourself at 1, that 1 is 1 more than somebody at 0. So you can at least educate that person to get them to a 1. So that also helps other people. Before I used to be fearful, like, what do I know? There's no point in me
Yeah.
sharing. But the moment I started sharing even what I learned, I was like, hold on a minute, there's other people that are benefiting from this. So let me continue. And let me do it in a way that makes sense on platform as well.
That's really inspiring. Yeah. Amazing. That's really inspiring. So, moving from Meta, we're going to helping people in the diaspora, not just about like real estate. You usually help them like in starting businesses in Ghana, advices and all that. What would you say is one of the biggest misconception about starting a business or investing in anything in Ghana?
Whew, where do I start?
Yeah.
Did you say just one? Just one?
Yeah, we can do 1.5.
One and a
Yeah.
half. One and a half. Okay. The half is that people come in thinking that it's going to be the same way that they would run a business outside of the country.
No. No.
Like, for real. Like, you might come from the West, so you feel like you are above other people, maybe. I'll be honest. 8-10 years ago, I used to think the same way. But to some extent, the people that are going to move you forward are the locals. You need to be on their side, So that's one thing. That's one misconception. The second misconception is, or the other half is that one time it's going to hit. Some people think that, okay, I've got this entire business plan, this business model, it's just going to work straight off the bat. Most successful business people in Ghana have probably done many, many other businesses before their successful businesses blown up, right? So you have to kind of like navigate the lay of the land, get burnt a few times, and then that fire will just burn off the chaff and then you're flying.
Yeah, awesome. And then what are some of the business opportunities here in Ghana you feel like people in the diaspora or even Ghanaians who are ready to like invest in this country should check out?
Of course, I want to say property because I'm in the property space. So people that are looking to purchase property in Ghana, they could definitely reach out to me as well. Because one of the things I help to educate people on is around how people could actually invest in real estate for rental returns. So Airbnb market right now is booming. So there is a statistic. I was on a podcast and a webinar with the Airbnb Africa manager, and he stated double-digit growth, higher than our counterparts in Nigeria, Liberia, and other locations in terms of the demand for Airbnbs in Ghana. So it makes sense for people to tap into that market, not only in the prime locations, but also in the affordable market, in the local market as well, where there's more long-term rental opportunities. So that's something that, number one, I definitely highly encourage people that are looking to purchase property, feel free to reach out to me, and I definitely am able to support people with that. But secondly, there are other avenues around things like agriculture. So agriculture, in fact, in Ghana makes up a lot of the GDP for Ghana, especially. You know, we export a lot of things like cocoa, pineapple, avocados, etc., you know, maize. So there's an opportunity there to get into that market as well, rice. And there's a company that I sit on the board for called Grow For Me. And Grow For Me allow for people in the diaspora to sponsor smallholder farmers. And the farmers will grow on their behalf. For example, maize, rice, soybean, cassava, whatever it may be. And once we harvest it, we trade it, you're able to generate returns from that. So you can be a digital farmer wherever you are in the world. So that's another opportunity for people that want to get into agriculture. That's another aspect. In Ghana, a lot of other things, of course, dare I say it, because I've been in that space, beauty always sells. You know, Ghana is all about packaging, looking good. Beauty will always sell, but doing it in the right way, doing it in the right place. So aesthetics, things like that, you know, are really growing in Ghana. Content creation is a big space right now. People are really exploring that. Ghanaians love events, event spaces, you know, having fun, going out. So places that could facilitate opportunities like that, recreational activities. There's definitely places like that. Transportation, infrastructure. If you've got the big money, infrastructure, you know, Ghana still requires infrastructure. So if you've got multi-million-dollar investors, please come and invest in infrastructure in Ghana. You know, everything from Wi-Fi, everything to roads, everything to transportation, everything to manufacturing plants. Those are areas that definitely require investment in as well. So.
Guys, this is a whole masterclass, free masterclass for you guys. We've learned so much. Like this, you should be charged for this knowledge. This is premium content. This is premium content. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, I mean, thank you for sharing this knowledge with us. But if somebody is coming to invest in Ghana, right, what is your one advice for that person?
Build a network. Don't do it alone. You know, a lot of Ghanaians we've been educated that you don't let people know what you're doing. Yeah. People will copy, etc. But the reality is, if you are not here on the ground, you need somebody to look after your business. So find a local partner, build a network, let people check in on things. You know, especially if you're running a service business, you need a local partner. You need somebody who's here on the ground, who's going to be here day in, day out. So definitely believe that if it's a product business, it's different. If it's a real estate thing, it's different. But if it's a service business where it's like beauty, it's content, it's whatever it may be, food, restaurant, whatever it may be, having a local partner, having a network here to make sure that business is running is highly, highly important.
Where or how can someone build this network?
Putting yourself out there, contacting people, especially there's a lot of people that come to me and be like, Lorraine, can they work with me? Can they support me with stuff? So put yourself out there. You know, I have administrators or website developers or whoever they may be that will just put themselves out there, find people, offer to do something for them, let other people now see what you can do, and then you can now start charging. Do you see my point? So you're building your network that way. Just put yourself out there, contact, message. If you don't message people, nobody's going to know what you do. You know, you can post till kingdom comes, but if you don't put yourself out there and let people know what you do, nobody's really going to know what you do.
Thank you so much. We're almost wrapping up. You guys are having so much fun. I don't even know how much time has passed, but we're almost wrapping up. So a platform like Akwaaba app, I don't know, with basically what we are doing to try and make it very easy for people to explore Ghana, trying to make it easy for diasporans to explore Ghana. How important do you think this tool is for people who are looking forward to like exploring Ghana better? When we say exploring Ghana, we're talking about events, we're talking about like hospitality, we're talking about real estate as well. right? So how do tools like this make the challenges that diasporans face easier?
I think when we initially started, one of the biggest things I keep talking about is transparency.
Yeah.
So having an app or a place that a one-stop shop that gives people the visibility of what's going on at any one point, I think is necessary. It just helps to build a level of. I think one aspect I think will be required though is making sure that it's community focused.
Okay.
So making sure that there's validation from the community that, oh yeah, I did go to this place and it was good.
Yeah.
So it's not just that it's go here, go here, go here, but
Yeah.
also getting real life feedback.
Yeah. Review sort of.
Yeah, from people, because I think it's really highly important that the community speak. It's not just we're just being told go here, go here, but it's organic. It's user generated. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. That's an amazing feedback. Honestly, thank you so much. So, like I said, we're wrapping up, and speaking to you, you're so confident. True, you're so confident. You're so like insightful, very knowledgeable and all that. How do you build yourself to get to this? How do you build yourself to grow in your
Experience.
space?
Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to be burned. I've had to reinvent myself so many times when something doesn't work. Working at Meta taught me one thing. Zuck, like I really know him, but Mark Zuckerberg teaches us one thing. Good is better than perfect. So a lot of people spend forever perfecting something and only releasing it to the market when they believe it's perfect. But good is okay enough. And also he teaches the second thing is that you need to fail fast. So if something doesn't work out, you got to good level, it didn't quite work out, you don't have to spend forever perfecting it. You can iterate, fine. But if you get signals that it's not working, fail fast, move on, reinvent yourself. Don't spend so much money getting it to perfection when it's not working.
Yeah.
So learn the signals if it's not working. I had an Uber business in Ghana where I invested in Uber cars in Ghana and got Uber drivers to drive it. But it just wasn't working. So I had to stop that and start something else, So be able to fail fast, learn from the mistakes and then move on.
Thank you. Thank you. What's the last book or what's the best book that you've ever read you like to get our listeners to like read as well?
The Bible.
Yay! And a word of advice to anybody watching us today?
As I said, for me, coming into Ghana has its highs and it has its lows. Put on the armor of God, the Bible. No, you need your armor.
Yeah,
you need
absolutely.
your armor. You're gonna get burnt. That's a fact. You're gonna get burnt. But having your eyes open and learning from those experiences, once you build the scars and the wound heal, you'll be flying.
Awesome. I know that I kept saying we're wrapping up, but anytime you speak, I just want to ask you something more, right? So from what you said, it's very obvious that you're deeply rooted in your faith. So how does your faith play a role in your success?
Wow. For me, the main thing is I just trust God. I trust God and I focus on His will and His promises, and that's all I can do.
Trust God and
Trust in His will.
yeah, exactly. So thank you so much for everybody listening to us today, watching us today. We know that you learned so much. We know that we know that you've learned a lot, right? You've learned a lot. And I was joined here by Lorraine. So where can we find you if we're looking for you?
So Instagram, Lorraine H. Wright. My website, which is diasporatohome.com for those people that are interested in purchasing property. On TikTok, Lorraine H. Wright. On YouTube, Lorraine Wright. What else? LinkedIn, Lorraine H. Wright. So yeah, just Google Lorraine Wright and you'll find me.
Awesome. And thank you all so much once again. My name is Akusia. Follow Akwaaba app on akwaaba.app on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, right? X. Yeah, X. And yeah, you would find us there. So thank you so much for joining us today. Have a lovely time. See you again. Bye.